Hey, good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, now in the hands of our Assistant City Clerk.
This is the pre-meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, June 18th. We have approval of minutes from June 11th.
Any issues, anyone? Okay.
Appeals, we have requests for waivers of the noise ordinance at 911 Dolphin Street on March 3rd from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m.
We're gonna lay these over, or matter of fact, we're gonna table both of them until I have a chance to clear this up. I finally got a response from the group yesterday. So we're gonna table this one and the wedding.
So it's Washington and Dolphin, those two?
You know, they're both at the same place.
Okay. On January
9/11
18th.
Dolphin. One is request of Toots and Paul Bridges, a waiver of the noise ordinance at 911 Dolphin Street. The other one is request of Forest Rec.
Okay, 300 Conti Street on July 11th through 14th from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. The 200 block of Dolphin Street between Jackson and Joachim on July 20th from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m.
Well, that's fine too. On the one that is Kalinsky, I don't remember if he's going through mass time on Sunday. And that's the 14th. I think we're looking at it.
It's 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah,
Do you want to hold it
I
over?
just need to make sure it's not on the Sunday. That Sunday you gonna leave. 14th is a Sunday. All right, we're good.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll be over by the end of the week.
Okay.
Lay it over a week.
At Washington Square Park on July 27th from 8 a.m. until 12 p.m. At Public Safety Memorial Park on June 22nd from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. And at Langham Park on August 29th through 31st from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m.
Any issues? Anyone else? Joe, Days, Councilman Gregory? Okay.
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to rezone property located at 3300 Knollwood Drive and 3401 and 3421 Medical Park Drive from R1, B1, and B2 to B2. Public hearings to declare the structures at 1312 Jesse Street, 1306 Congress Street, 1465 Houston Street, and 102 Border Drive West public nuisances and order them demolished. Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Renee Chapa comments about transparency in the investigation and subpoenas. James Jackson Jr. Concerns about the lack of accountability in the Mobile Police Department. Bill Boswell concerns about the pending resubmission of the Murphy gas station at 900 Government Street, requesting the council and mayor intercede to prevent Murphy Oil from building a gas station on the site. Sabrina Mass questions about subpoenas for the investigation into Paul Prine's allegations. Ashley Harrison, mental health, drugs, and homelessness in Mobile. Cedric Miles, questions about the results of the Mobile Police Department's Citizen Satisfaction Survey. Shanavia Sashington, concerns about mental health issues in Mobile. And Reggie Hill, fitness for duty, downtown parking, ARP, and performance contracts. Ordinances held over, 88039. Ordinance deeming property located at 5842, also known as 5850, Carroll Plantation Road, not now needed for public or municipal purposes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds?
I've not heard any updates to terms or changes of terms on this deal, so I would just advocate for us not to pass it. You would certainly hold it over, a week or two to try to get some changes made, but as it stands right now, I don't support it. We got a competing offer, better terms, This is tying the property up for another 210 days, and then there's no guarantee that they're going to sell it. They could transfer it. They could do all sorts of things. So I'd like to tighten that up before we do anything.
Go ahead.
I don't know if y'all received did y'all receive an external memo from Burr Foreman from Ricardo on this? I'm going to make sure you get copies of it, but I was going to kind of summarize it. The property was originally appraised in 2020 for $380,000. The council approved the sale of the property. The first advertisement was on November the 15th of 2020. A request for bids was posted on City Mobile website, newspaper, and the for sale sign was actually placed on the property. There was also an email blast that went out to several realtors to compete for this. I think 183 different people. The bid opening on 12/16, and there were no bids received of 2020. The second advertisement was on January the 11th, 2021. Request for bids posted on City Mobile website, newspaper, for sale sign on the property. 183 recipients were emailed on that particular time. The appraisal for the property at that time was $570,000. Bids were opened on February 17, 2021, and no bids were received. Third advertisement, June 12, 2023. Request for bids posted on City Mobile website, newspapers, for sale sign placed on the property. 199 email recipients received the request for bids. We received one bid on the opening on July the 12th, 2023. It was for $285,000 from D.R. Horton. It was the only bid received. The terms were negotiated to $320,000 with D.R. Horton. I need to also note that this is adjacent to a property that D.R. Horton has already developed about 90 homes on it. So it's next to a residential neighborhood. The additional offer by Louis Golden, we received nothing from him until April 23rd of 2024. And it was a letter of intent and proof of funds letter beyond the bid date. At no point did he bid on it. And my understanding is he was also emailed during those email blasts. So I'll get you the external memo that kind of outlines what the property, how we kind of proceeded with getting this property sold and developed.
Also, it's worth noting that on the adjacent to the property on the other side is a commercial transfer station. So although the argument's made that, well, D.R. Horton built these houses on this side, there's this property. Well, on the other side, there's a commercial operation over there as well. I don't think these terms are good terms. 210 days, no guarantee that they're going to close, and the taxpayer carries it for them. I just think it's unacceptable. And, especially when you got a competing offer that's out there. And, I would say that, D.R. Horton didn't exactly follow the guidelines that were put out in the request for bid. I mean, they said the request for bid clearly stated they had 30 days to close on the property, or not close, but enter into a purchase and sale agreement. And that was a year ago when this bid process was conducted. So I think we're well within our scope.
They did enter into a purchase sale agreement with the city.
On within 30 days. The date of the one that we have on file is not within that timeline.
Looks like it was signed Tuesday, June 11th, 2024.
Yeah, right. So this says the selected respondent will have 30 days from selection to execute a purchase agreement with the city. So that wasn't followed. I just think there's a better deal for the taxpayer than this one. I don't know what the resolution would be, but maybe you have them submit a best and final, both parties. And, then we can consider both terms and both prices and all that sort of stuff.
Councilman Carroll.
No, he made the point. The purchase sale agreement was actually 2 years later. They did not match the agreement of the bid process and the request for bid process at all. Seems like we conceded to it after the fact when we didn't get a proposal at the time that we requested it for. So we kind of sounds like we just kind of fell in line after looking into all the information. However, when it comes to residential property versus commercial property out there. We all know what the situation is in the city with the shortage of housing. I would suggest that we either find a way to have them meet terms that match the bid proposal and request, or we put it back out in the street for a short term. They've seems like they've done their due diligence in a way, but experience tells me that sometimes when dealing with property, it takes a little bit longer than 30 days to get everything squared away, especially when you have to go through the process of design consultants, infrastructure needs, phase 1s through 3s, and all those things take time to make sure that you can close properly and do what you need to do in residential construction. So that would have been my recommendation today, but he's already hit the high points. So it's up to the council at this time.
I just have a follow-up question, make sure, when was the last appraisal done?
4 years ago.
It's like January 23rd of 2023, it came in at 570,000.
And so they were offering their proposal based on like a 2020 appraisal, sounds like.
That's correct.
Again, they were out of all 3 attempts, it was the only bid received, okay? And it came in below market, now, as y'all already know, at 285,000. It was negotiated up to 320,000.
So they were going off that 2020.
I can't say what they were going after.
That's when it was 285.
Mr. President, it's not uncommon in the industry to, when you think that the competition is going to be slim pickings, to underbid the evaluated price, knowing that you have a high probability of walking away with a piece of property. That's just part of the industry and how the process works. No matter what the appraised value was, sometimes that does happen.
Well, I get that, and I also know that we have a lot of need for the affordable housing, and I would suspect that that would trump a lot of what is going on. The city owns the property, and the city knows that it needs a lot of affordable housing, and therefore this might have, trumped some of that.
I would agree 100%, but in respect to the terms, I think that's important.
Just one other, just talking to Rhonda and Cassie, the reason they didn't do the purchase agreement within 30 days is because we negotiated the bid. And so it was negotiated up from the 285 to 320. Once we came to agreement, that's when they did it.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk?
Consent resolutions held over. 4363, fixed cost for securing of the structure at 311 North Ann Street.
Where we at with that?
Well, if we're fixing the cost, they've already torn it down
So
or
we good?
secured it.
So we-
held over for some reason.
Yeah, that's on, yeah. Councilman Carroll, so we good to Councilman Carroll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Resolutions held over. 08, 525, 526, 527, and 528 are approving purchase orders to Dade Paper Company for portable restroom cleaners, JHCC Holdings for repair to Chevy Tahoe, Pioneer Manufacturing Company for portable volleyball poles, bases, pads, and nets, and to SASO for traffic signs, solar flashing beacons. 21-529, authorized contract amendment with Osprey Initiative. And 31-530, authorize the mayor to apply, accept, and receive a grant from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for the fiscal year 24 Port Security Grant Program. Ordinances being introduced. 64040, rezone property located at 3300 Knollwood Drive and 3401 and 3421 Medical Park Drive.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds?
this is a unique piece of property. It's the old Knollwood Hospital property and Medical Park property. It's in district, it abuts District 4 on 2 corners, but in the new redistricting, it will fall within District 4. This has been proposed as senior housing, that it will be like apartments for seniors. There's nothing that, restricts the property to being used for seniors. It could be just apartments or whatever. But they're requesting to go to B2 zoning when really all they need's R3 zoning. So it's sort of speculative zoning. I would be in favor of allowing the rezoning to go to R3, but they're asking for B2 so that, future development or whatever, when it happens on this property, the people, the citizens won't really have an opportunity to intervene or, consider the implications to their surrounding properties at that time. So I won't be in favor of this speculative zoning request that goes beyond the proposed use that was put forward, which is R3.
Mr. President,
Councilman Wood.
while I respect my colleague's opinion on what he calls speculative zoning, a lot of us call it planned purposeful development. So basically the B2 request is coming from the applicant in order to go ahead and prepare this property for future use. Mr. Reynolds is right. There's obviously going to be some apartment complex built there. I believe 3-story, and a mix of single bed, 1 bath, and 2 bed, 1 bath. Just like across the street in Mr. Reynolds' district, there are some apartment complexes that are marketed towards seniors. He is right. There is nothing in there to say that this isn't going to be senior housing for forever into affinity. But this is the intent of the developer. The B2 request is just to ask that be considered and that, be approved so that ancillary businesses like a barber shop, maybe a small grocery store, or something can be built along with this complex for their future purpose or the grand plan for this development. So it's not getting ahead of the zoning. It's just really trying to keep up pace with what they want to do. One of the advantages of this site, it's been sitting for years and years. It is kind of a nuisance property in the fact that 2 of the buildings were torn down. One still remains. Been issues of homeless living there. I know one part of this land is will remain R1, which directly abuts the neighborhood. And I know for years there's been a homeless issue that they kind of go back and encamp back there along the creek bed. So I'm in favor of this because I think this is a good project. I don't think we're getting ahead of upzoning by any means, just because it's working with what the plan for the property and the property owner is. So I'll be in favor of approving this.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk.
Consent resolutions being introduced. 31-532, authorize the mayor to apply, accept, and receive a grant from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation for the National Coastal Resilience Fund Program, $10 million, no local match.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds.
I want to understand this $10 million grant. This is another $10 million going into Brooklyn by the Bay. Is that correct?
Good morning, everyone. Yes. So this is $10 million to create nature-based solutions to protect both the park and the conservation easements. So these are living shorelines, planted revetments, terracing. This is part of the 2023 master plan and one of our project goals, which is enhancing habitat resilience. We've been working on this with phase 1 of the project. We have 30% plans. So we're looking for funding sources for this, and this is the perfect match for that.
So the overall Brooklyn by the Bay plan, I saw something in the media that there was a $16 or $18 million shortfall in funding the project. Does this 10 million eat into that 16 or 18 million, or is it this plus another 16 or 18 million?
It doesn't. This is a separate part of that project. So it's just the coastal resilience portion of it. That's part of phase 1. And this is a 10 million. You can apply for up to $10 million. And so that's what we're applying for. It matches the needs of the project goals.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jennifer,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
is this a definite win here?
No federal grants are a definite win.
I just wanted him to hear that.
Yeah. We apply for things. Sometimes you have to apply for things multiple times in a row. We see that with Ray's grant or Tiger grant. We applied for it 3 times. It's common. It's about a 30% rate right now in achieving grants, but we try hard to meet our funding goals with as many grants as possible.
How many grants have we gone after for Brooklyn by the Bay so far?
4,
How many have we been awarded?
none. Working on it. Yep, but waiting on some, well, Go Mesa is, yeah, different. But to fund the pieces of the puzzle, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Madam Clerk.
40, 533, 534, 535, and 536 are declaring the structures public nuisances and ordering them demolished. 58, 537, assessed cost for removal of weeds, Group 1649. 60, 538, 539, and 540 are approving awards of special bonus to the Administrative Services Employee of the Month, the Officer of the Month, and the Public Works Employee of the Month. 46, 554, honorarily rename a portion of Ralston Road to Chief Apostle Cleveland Smith Way. CIP resolutions being introduced. 21, 541, authorized contract with Mobile Asphalt Company for 2024 CIP resurfacing for districts 1, 2, 3, and 5, $6,136,407.05. 21, 550, authorized contract with Southern Earth Sciences for 2024 CIP resurfacing for districts 1, 2, 3, and 5, $105,000. Resolutions being introduced. 01, 542, authorized agreement with the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for amendment to Go Mesa grant agreement for Shipyard Road Dog River Acquisition Project, $2,500,000. 08, 543, 544, 545, and 546 are approving purchase orders to Gray Bar Electric Company for aluminum light poles with arms for traffic engineering, $76,259.80. To Intergraph Corporation for installation and maintenance for interface software for Mobile Fire and Rescue Department, $29,695. To Shaw Contract Flooring Services for Cruise Terminal, $21,172.48, and to UKG Chronos Systems for annual renewal of software for the Fire and Rescue Department, $25,626.69. 21,547, authorized contract with Gorham Air Conditioning Company for HVAC replacement at Spring Hill Rec Center, $65,287. 21,548, authorized contract with Robert J. Baggett for construction of mooring pile for the cruise terminal,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
$154,810.
I'd just like a little information on, just like to get some information on this one. Yes.
The mooring ballards needed for the ship. So last year they didn't need it because it moored this on the same side every single time it came into the bay. Now they're going to be rotating port and starboard, so they'll need that extra ballard to help secure the ship.
Is this on that property that we are leasing from the state?
Yes.
21,549, authorized contract with S&O Enterprises for fire and security alarm service and monitoring at various city locations, $60,840 per year. 47,551, waive right-of-way vacation fee for the vacation of a portion of Meter Drive. 60,552, authorize issuance of subpoenas by special counsel.
And Don, we'll let Michael speak, but if we decide to move forward on this, we'll need to waive the rules today.
That's correct. These should have been on the agenda last week. They were omitted accidentally. These are just the individual testimonial subpoenas for Mark and Johnny Baker at 321Z. So at the request of the special counsel, we would ask that the council waive the rules and take this up today.
Could we go ahead and take up 547, 551 today also, since we had, I think, intended to do that last week?
I was going to ask, I thought that was on the agenda last week.
It was
547, 21, 547?
47,
47,
551, the
551.
waiver of the
47,
vacation fee.
I'll that was on the agenda last week. Yes. I think the property, I think it was on the agenda, but I think for whatever reason, it was not discussed or taken up. I think the council intended to waive the fee, or at least could discuss waiving the fee, and the property owner contacted us and asked that that be put back on.
Yeah, the intention was to waive the fee last week. For some reason, we didn't do it, and I just asked that we go ahead and bring it back up.
I agree. Madam Clerk.
Call for public hearings, 41-553, call for public hearing to rezone property located at 59 Hillcrest Road from R1 to B2, scheduled for July 23rd. Announcements.
Council.
No, but before we do that, can we go back to 312 North End Street? David, document, we did secure that one, right? Okay, that's,
Approximately 30 days ago, there's an attorney, the owner hired an attorney.
that's right.
And they recommended more time to come up with some information. The city's position is we secured it. We would like to move forward with fixing the costs.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anything else from the council?
Mr. President,
Woods.
I just wanted to give a shout out, to Public Services, had a constituent in the neighborhood notice of several potential potholes starting to develop, and within 3 days, the public service team was out filling those holes. So I just want to say thanks for the responsiveness. I definitely left that neighborhood with a very high opinion of 311 and getting folks out. So thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Carroll.
I would like to thank whoever put that stop on that door over there. We've been wrestling with that door for 3 years, and we finally got a stop on it. Amen to the administration and the staff. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Mr. Attorney.
I believe Mr. Bonner has a request to take us into an executive session.
Okay. Do we have anything else from the administration for Mr. Bonner to come up? Okay. Mr. Bonner.
Yes, we have a request to go into executive session. This will take probably 30 minutes at the most, probably closer to 20. I have filed a written submission confirming the basis for the executive session, but I'm Britt Bonner, an attorney for the City for Economic Development, licensed in the state of Alabama, and I certify the issues to be discussed involve matters of trade and commerce, and that are subject to 3625A7 of the Open Meetings Act and appropriate for executive session.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Penn,
Yes.
Councilmember Carroll,
Yes.
Council President Small,
Yes.
Councilmember Reynolds,
Yes.
Councilmember Daves,
Yes.
Councilmember Woods,
Yes.
Vice President Gregory.
Yes.
And we'll convene our 10:30 meeting downstairs.
Plan purpose.